Part 1. It was Megan's first day at Riverview High, and it felt like she had walked into a war zone. Shy and quiet, she didn't say much, just kept her head down, clutched her books, and tried to make it to class without catching anyone's attention. But high schools have a radar for vulnerability, and the queen bees picked her out instantly. Amber, the leader of the popular girls, smirked as Megan walked by in her thrift store skirt and faded hoodie. "Where'd you get that outfit?" "From a donation box," she whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. Laughter followed, cruel and sharp. During lunch, Megan sat alone. Behind the bleachers, trying to get some peace. She thought she could avoid the crowd. But she didn't hear them coming. A sudden shove knocked her forward. She hit the ground hard. Before she could get up, she felt the unmistakable RRRIP behind her. Amber and her minions had torn Megan's skirt from the back, laughing hysterically. "Oops, looks like someone forgot her dignity today," Amber mocked. Humiliated and shaking, Megan turned around, eyes wide, cheeks red, knees scraped. Everyone expected her to cry, maybe run. But she didn't. Megan stood up, trembling but composed. She didn't cover herself. She didn't scream. She stared, not at Amber, but at the concrete wall behind her, fists clenched at her sides. Her breathing deepened. Something shifted. In a blink, she raised one bare hand and drove it straight into the wall. It shattered. The girls gasped, eyes wide as chunks of concrete crumbled to the ground. Dust clouded the air. The entire section of the bleacher wall was cracked, split like glass under pressure. And Megan turned slowly, calm and unreadable. "Anyone else want to touch my clothes?" she asked, voice low. They backed away in silent horror. Part 2. Word spread like wildfire. By fifth period, the whole school was buzzing. "That new girl. She punched a wall with her bare hand." Teachers asked questions, cameras from phones were reviewed, but somehow, conveniently, none had captured the exact moment. Just the aftermath. The cracked wall, and Megan calmly walking away like nothing had happened. Principal Hawthorne called her to the office. "Care to explain the structural damage to our bleachers, Miss Daniels?" he asked, eyes narrowed. Megan looked up slowly. "It must have been faulty construction," she said quietly. "I tripped and caught myself." He didn't believe her, but he also had no evidence to charge her with. After all, who could possibly punch through reinforced concrete? What no one at Riverview knew, yet, was that Megan had been trained since childhood in a discipline few even believed existed. Her grandfather, a reclusive war veteran, had raised her off-grid. She trained daily with her hands, feet, and mind. She wasn't just physically strong, she had mastered something ancient, something raw. Control of chi energy. She could focus power into a single strike so precise, it defied physics. She hadn't planned on revealing it. But humiliation had a funny way of triggering instinct. Amber didn't return to school for 2 days. When she did, she was quieter. She didn't sit with her usual crew. She didn't laugh when others did. Wordlessly, she avoided Megan in the halls. Megan, on the other hand, didn't seek revenge or popularity. She didn't flaunt her power. She just carried herself with the quiet assurance of someone who knew exactly what she could do, and dared anyone to challenge it. One afternoon, a freshman boy tripped in the hallway and dropped his books. Others snickered. Megan walked by, helped him pick them up, and smiled. "Ignore them, they don't know who they're messing with." He looked up at her, grateful and a little awestruck. "Are the stories true?" he whispered. "Did you really break the wall?" She just winked. "Maybe." From that day forward, the bullying lessened. People remembered the girl behind the bleachers, the girl with the torn skirt and iron fists. Megan hadn't just stood up for herself. She had changed something in that school. And she'd done it not by screaming for help, but by showing them that sometimes, the quietest people carry the loudest force. All it took was one moment. One strike, one girl, and her bare hands. Amber's return to school was quiet, almost ghost-like. The swagger she once wore like a crown had dissolved into a cautious shuffle through the hallways. She avoided the cafeteria, took the long way to class, and didn't make eye contact with anyone, especially not Megan. But Megan wasn't paying attention to Amber anymore. After the incident, she tried to stay under the radar. But that was almost impossible now. Some students looked at her with awe, others with fear. A few tried to test her strength by dropping casual comments like, "Bet she can break lockers too," or, "Hey Megan, wanna arm wrestle a car?" She ignored them. It wasn't power she wanted. It was peace. But peace never lasted long in places like Riverview High. That Friday, Coach Simmons, a stocky, ex-military gym teacher, called Megan aside during PE. "You any good at martial arts?" he asked, arms crossed. She hesitated. "A bit. I saw the bleachers," he said flatly. "I don't believe in ghosts, and earthquakes don't hit one section of concrete." "You did something. I'm not asking how, but we have a self-defense program starting next week. For girls. You'd be perfect to help lead it." She stared at him. Part of her wanted to say no. The other part, the one her grandfather trained to be strong for others, not just herself, nodded slowly. "I'll think about it." That night, she practiced alone behind her house, fists gliding through the air with elegant speed. She remembered her grandfather's voice: "Power means nothing if it only protects you. The real strength is choosing when to use it, and when not to." The next Monday, the new self-defense class launched. To no one's surprise, the gym filled up fast. Girls who used to avoid PE signed up. Megan stood beside Coach Simmons as the girls whispered and stared. He clapped loudly. "All right, settle down. This is not a class to learn how to hurt people. This is a class to learn how not to be hurt." Then he gestured to Megan. "Meet your assistant instructor. She's not flashy, and she won't be showing off. But she'll teach you to stand your ground." The first session was awkward. No one wanted to spar with Megan. But slowly, they began asking questions. "What do I do if someone grabs my wrist? How do I get out from under someone bigger?" Megan didn't show off. She showed them pressure points. Balance tricks. How to move without freezing. Amber showed up the third week. Megan noticed her immediately standing at the back of the class, hands in her pockets. Her face was pale, but determined. Coach Simmons gave her a nod. "Glad to see you, Miss Linton." The girls whispered behind their palms. Megan kept teaching, ignoring the noise. When the session ended, Amber waited while the others cleared out. Then she approached slowly. "I didn't come to mess with you," Amber said. Her voice wasn't snide, it was flat, humbled. Megan raised an eyebrow but said nothing. I wanted to say sorry," Amber continued. "Not just for the skirt. For everything. I don't know why I did it. Maybe I was jealous. Maybe I just hated seeing someone not care what we thought. You didn't beg, or cry. You just stood there, like we were nothing." Megan was silent for a moment. Then she said, "I didn't stand for you. I stood for me." Amber nodded. "Yeah, I figured." Megan tilted her head. "Why'd you really come here?" Amber sighed. "Because I realized I don't want to be the girl who ruins people. I want to be the one who saves someone. One day, the way you saved yourself." That hit something deep in Megan. She remembered the crushing loneliness she'd felt on that first day, how Amber had made her feel like trash. But she also remembered what her grandfather had taught her. Even the worst people have a choice to be better. "You want to help?" Megan asked. Amber nodded quickly. "Then come back tomorrow, early. We start with discipline, not punches." The next morning, Amber was there. Weeks turned into months. The self-defense class grew stronger, tighter, almost like a family. Megan became more than a mystery, she became a leader. And surprisingly, so did Amber. She wasn't loud anymore. She didn't need to be. One afternoon, as Megan walked through the halls, she saw a small boy cornered by 3 seniors. They were laughing, poking at his backpack, making him spin in circles. Megan tensed. But before she could intervene, Amber stepped in. "Hey," she barked. "You think bullying a 6th grader makes you tough?" The seniors paused, surprised. Amber stepped forward, confidence in every stride. "Try messing with someone who punches concrete. Or better yet, try growing up." They backed off. Fast. Amber turned to the kid, smiled, and helped him gather his things. Megan watched from a distance, a small smile forming on her lips. Later that day, Coach Simmons pulled Megan aside. "I knew you were strong," he said. "But I didn't know you could change people." Megan shrugged. "I didn't change her. She chose to change, and you gave her the reason." She looked down at her hands. The same hands that once shattered a wall out of shame and pain. Now they taught, guided, even inspired. She didn't need to hide her strength anymore. Because now, she was using it for something impossible. She was making others strong, too.